Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse. Corekeeper is releasing their first major update, 1.1, on Monday, March 10th, 2025. And I've already got the patch notes, so let's go ahead and dive in and see everything that's being updated with this major update. Word of warning though, you're about to get a bunch of spoilers, so let's get started. First thing we've got here is I'm going to go over all the new major gameplay updates with bags and blasts, and first thing on the list is a brand new endgame boss known as Nimruza, Queen of the Burrowed Sands. She's going to be found in the Desert of Beginnings biome, and she's got her own little sub-biome that's really cool looking. I highly recommend you check it out, but be sure to go in there with your best gear and your best buff food because this is a tough fight. In addition to this new boss, we've got brand new cicada enemies, and it's not just one type of cicada enemy, there's at least two. There are these golden kind of larval cicadas that you can find throughout the Desert of Beginnings, and you can also find these larger, more full-grown ones in Azios's Wilderness. Additionally, we've got a brand new variation of the bomb scarab. This one is a golden bomb scarab, and it otherwise functions exactly the same. 1.1 is releasing a brand new sub-biome with this update. They are calling it the Oasis. Now, we have seen the Oases before. Those are the little scenes with the giant, like, thermal mountain, red little mountain thing that's in the water. These are getting a massive update. So the existing version of the Oasis is being completely replaced with a brand new version of the Oasis. In this new Oasis, we are also getting a brand new cattle called the Dromble. I don't really know how to pronounce it. Dromble. Let me know how to pronounce it in the comments. But it's basically a camel-like animal, and it drops poop. Basically blasting dung. It'll eat crops, so it's similar to your moulin or your bambucks when it comes to what it'll eat. They've also added a total of 35 new pieces of equipment, armor, accessories, weapons, etc., etc. There's tons of new stuff in this update, so I'm not going to go over all of it here. You're going to have to explore a little bit, but let's talk about a few things, specifically what they've been mentioning in the patch notes, which includes 4 new types of bombs. The mouse bomb, which kind of runs toward its target in a straight line. The blunder bomb, which is kind of like a giant cannon. It fires off its shot, which then skips several steps, blowing up multiple times as it goes. The proximity bomb, which obviously is exactly what it sounds. It's basically a mine that as soon as someone steps on it, boom, it blows up. And the void bomb. This one acts similar to the other bombs where it just takes a few seconds and then explodes, but its explosion is massive. It's not just bombs that they've added. They've also added several new throwing consumables that they're calling grenades. Literally, the first one is just called the grenade. Then we've got the stun grenade, which doesn't do as much damage, but it stuns your target. There's the fire grenade, which does even more damage than the regular grenade, and it also adds a napalm effect, and napalm is strong. It just rips enemies to pieces. There is also the poison grenade, which does a lot of damage and adds the poison effect, and the charm grenade, which does very little damage but adds the charm effect, making all creatures in the radius friendly to you. Because they've added a bunch of new grenades, as well as a bunch of new bombs, they've added a new skill tree called the explosive skill tree with brand new skills. I'm going to go into more detail onto what these skills are in a later video. But that basically covers the blasts part of the update. So what about the bags part of the update? Well, there is a brand new crafting station that you can get from this little NPC guy here. It is the pouch workbench. Incidentally, they've also moved the distillery workbench over to this guy as well. But you're going to want to buy the pouch workbench for 100 ancient coins. And then you'll be able to craft one of 2 sizes of pouches. You've got the 5 pouch inventory slot bags, and you've got the 8 pouch inventory slot bags. These are the small and medium sized bags. There's also a large one, but the large bags are found on bosses. We've got the ore and block pouch, which obviously stores ore and blocks. We've got the seed and crop pouch, which clearly, as it says, stores seeds and crops. There's also the valuables pouch, which stores everything that, is one of those gray valuable items. And finally, there is the fish pouch, which stores fish. You can see that they have these separate slots down here below. And if you happen to get killed, none of the items in these pouches will drop onto your corpse when you die. These will stay with you so that when you resurrect, you'll still have all of it on you. Pouches can be equipped by clicking this little arrow next to your backpack slot, and it will open up the pouches section, which allows you to place all of your pouches into their slots. Mages have also gotten an update with a new staff called the Corrupted Meteor Staff. This item drops off the new boss, Nimruza, and it's listed as a multi-purpose tool because the meteors do have the ability to damage and break walls. So it technically could be used as a mining tool, although it is a highly inefficient mining tool. It's a fun weapon though, and it's nice to see different ways to engage the enemies. I just wish it didn't have such a limited range. There's also a new magic-themed pet. It works best for mages, but is also great for summoners. The arcane symbiote can be found by killing cicadas in Azios' wilderness. Let's see what this arcane symbiote can do. All right, first of all, it looks cool. I like its look, a little one-eyed flying thing. Now, by default, it adds 23 magic barrier. It has a mana regeneration delay reduced by 11%, adds 20% damage, and adds 0.5 health every second. And then it buffs its owner. So it looks like this is a pet like the Owlux and like the Ferromoth, but this one's absolutely magic oriented. This one has come with a mana bowl option, which buffs its owner with +2 mana every second. It also has some that we're familiar with, Avian Run, which buffs the owner with 5% movement speed. Dive Bombing for the melee attack speed, Triple Trouble, always nice. And Spirit of the Hawk for critical hit chance, as well as critical damage. Now I've gone into creative mode and summoned a few more arcane symbiotes so that I could see what other things they had. And I found they also have a power called Arcane Beast, which buffs the owner with 3% magic damage for each one. So this is a really cool pet because it has lots of really good options. You can make it buff your critical hit chance, your critical damage, your triple trouble. You could have it give you a buttload of mana regen, or you can have it give you a buttload of magical damage. This is a great, great pet, especially for those arcane casters. There's a new offhand item designed for the warlocks/summoners that's called the Minion Detonator. And this also comes into effect with a new set of armor that the warlocks have in the late game called the Desert Guardian set. And what these two pieces of gear will do is they give this effect for your minions that allows the minions to explode when they are about to despawn. This is really, really cool, really fun, and adds a lot of new, I want to say, aspects to what you can do as a summoner. But a word of caution, I know that they're planning to patch this out because I've mentioned it to the devs, but at the moment, if your minions are around, let's say, your portal or your waypoint, and you use the waypoint, they will explode and they will blow up your portal and they will blow up your waypoint and they'll blow up everything around it, and it can be a mess. So just word of caution right now, if you're using these new detonation abilities for your minions, you're going to want to make sure that you don't have any minions out before you use a portal or a waypoint. They will blow things up. Speaking of minions, they've actually made the minions more aggressive. The AI for the minions has been overhauled. They have a much larger range that they'll attack. They're more aggressive. They are also I don't really know how to describe it very well, but just try playing the minions yourself. You'll notice a change in the way that they behave, and I think that this change is definitely for the better. If you've seen some of the preview stuff that the devs have thrown out on Twitter or on Blue Sky, they have created a brand new item called the Garden Trowel. And what this does is it lets you plant multiple seeds at the same time. There is a higher level garden trowel as well, the octarine one that you can craft, and that one has an even bigger range of seeds that you can place at a time. And this really, really makes a huge difference. I mentioned earlier that the UI kind of had a bit of an overhaul. Well, what they've done is they have upgraded the hotbar so that you can now swap out what your primary hotbar is at any time so that you don't have to move items in and out of your hotbar. You can basically make any single row in your inventory your hotbar. They've also added a quick deposit so that you can just hit a single key on the keyboard and your loot will throw itself into nearby chests. You don't have to worry about sorting it yourself anymore. They've also added, on top of that, a lock feature so that if you don't want an item to get sorted, then you just lock it in your hotbar and it will no longer move if you decide to sort your items. Really, really useful changes. Once you get used to it, you're never going to want to go back. This is a really great update. I absolutely love it. And over the last few weeks, while I've been going back and forth between the 1.1 and 1.0 updates so that I can make content, I have always bemoaned having to go back to my old hotbar style now that I'm used to this new one. It's really, really nice. And there's definitely more stuff in this update that I haven't mentioned, but we're already getting pretty long here, and I haven't even touched on bug fixes, graphic updates, various other random updates to the game, like the fact that they've now added some kind of in-game hints for new players when you haven't done something yet. Like your character will say, oh, I should make a torch if you haven't made a torch within a certain amount of time. Or I should try crafting a workbench, that sort of thing. So there's now little hints that your character will spit at you if you haven't done something at the beginning of the game. There have also been massive updates to graphics, game balance, performance, audio, all sorts of stuff that'll just overall make things better, especially in multiplayer, for joining games, for reducing lag, and for improving and optimizing general performance. This update also comes with a ton of bug fixes. I'm not going to read out all of the bug fixes. I highly recommend you check out the patch notes, as there are just a bunch of them. So check to see if any of these bug fixes matter for you, but know that there are definitely more bug fixes coming and more updates coming. This is just the start. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you're most excited about in this update. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I want you all to make sure to stay happy, stay healthy, but above all, stay crazy, my friends.